Hello everyone, today I'm going to show you a little sweater that I knitted I think a year ago, and I took a footage when I finished it, so I'm going to show that in a sec and we shall see how I look. This is the sweater that I had in mind to knit when I designed this sweater. I knitted this little piece because I had in mind a design and I wanted to see how it's going to look. So I took 2 skeins of DK weight yarn and I knitted this. So now, because so many months has passed, I can share with you this video, which is a finished object video for my red one. And then, after a while, I couldn't resist and I knitted this one, which is a green one version. Both of them, they fit me. I'm like 41 inches in my chest and I picked the size 5, which is for 46 inches. So I wanted to have a bit of space in the sweater, let's say it that way. But that doesn't finish there. You can see this little sweater also in this video, which I recorded to tell you how I designed a sweater, my first ever sweater. And then also I published this video which shows you how to knit and try on a top-down raglan sweater while you're knitting a sweater. So I think it kind of sums up everything. Let's see what I've recorded a few months ago, and I hope you're going to enjoy it. Hello everyone, my name is Barbara and today I'm going to show you a finished object, which is a sweater for a child. And why I knitted it, what yarn I used, what was the process of designing it. Although it's not a published design, it's just my prototype of playing with design. Sometimes you're asking me how I do things, how I come up with some stuff, how my process of thinking is. Now, like I said, it is a prototype. I basically first time tried to, maybe not first time, I actually knitted a sweater. So on the screen over here you can see it, hopefully you can. But anyway, I've never published it. The same story with this one. I'm at the moment and it hasn't been published. But you never know. I'm trying to find out something I'm trying to design a sweater for myself for Christmas. I do not own a Christmas sweater, so a Christmas jumper. I know. I've been knitting for so long. I have yarn for it. I got it as a gift and I just really wanted to use it for a good cause. So yeah, so anyway, so I'm going to tell you what kind of construction I picked first. So how did I knit it? And I will go through the measurements because I need to go through it. I measured the sweater and I'm going now to compare with the book for what kind of age, or maybe not even age, but child dimension this sweater will work. And then I'll tell you at the end yarn, so hopefully I'll remember those things. Now, construction. This is a top down because that's I think it's the easiest way to do. And I come up that I'm going to do a raglan because that's also the easiest way to do. I like folded brims in my hats. I've knitted so many hats. If you haven't checked, yeah, go for it if you want to see loads of hats on my head. But yeah, but I wanted to do something that I really like, so I did a double brim over here and then I did raglan. And I was doing that raglan for some certain length. And I did not know for how long I'm going to go. I knew that I wanted to make a sweater for a person so that I will have 70 centimeters, so 140 centimeters in the chest. So I'm not sure if that's in inches, maybe on the screen. And obviously it shouldn't go for a person who has 140 centimeters in the bust area because, you know, I would want to be a little bit more boxy. So maybe like with a 2 centimeters on the side. So that will be 4, 4, 8. So we're talking about, you know, if someone had at least 130 centimeters, this will fit pretty nice. Although you can always give it to someone smaller and they will have it as kind of maybe not a tunic because I don't think that's long enough. I don't have a child to, you know, to check how long it's going to go. But what I did before I even did the raglan, I did a bit of short row shaping. I'm not really so happy with it because it doesn't come up now because I blocked it. So, but when I was knitting it, it was creating a slight curve. So I'm not sure. I completely forgot to do it one more time, and that's why you do it after, let's say, raglan section, or maybe over here I could do a short row shaping to maybe get that back a little bit longer. And I think next time I would do it. You know, we can obviously stretch and stuff like that, but I could probably recreate it and edit more. However, I did not have that much yarn. Now, next section. So I did not measure and I did not do my math how many rounds I would need to do with the crease ratio I had to get certain number of stitches over here. I just went for it, and I just decided that I will be decreasing certain way to end up with certain number of stitches for the body to get that chest circumference. I just wanted to see will it be long enough or not. Anyway, better to be longer than shorter. So if it is longer than that standard shape, if I even had a t-shirt for a certain age, that will be even better when you knit a sweater for someone. If it's longer, at least, you know, they will have it longer under the armpit, and it will create, like I said, a boxy thing. So it's better to be bigger than smaller. And I thought it would be big enough. So we have 8" for the neckline, and I've heard that for kids would be better to have it wider than like fitted for adults, because, you know, I presume if you were a kid, I were a kid, we did not like something that was going through our head and it was stuck or anything like that. So it's quite bigger neckline, I would think it will be. So that's 8 inches from this point to this point, so you have to multiply it by 2 to get a kind of circumference. Then the length from this to here, I have 6 inches, so I'm measuring not like this, but I'm measuring straight over here like that. It's 8, and then I had enough to go for another 9 inches. So overall I have written down that flat way we have 14 inches over here, so probably that's equivalent of 70 centimeters. And the hand now, because I did a bit over here for the section here and the section here, so this is narrow and this is kind of bigger. So we have 4.5 over here when I'm putting it flat, so obviously you multiply by 2, it's 9 inch overall, and here we have 3.5, which will be like my head 7 inches. So it basically means that what I'm looking at, I've been looking at the circumference in someone else's bicep from perspective of the ribbing, not arm. I wanted to have it a little bit puffy, let's say it that way, so kind of bigger, so it's not something that you have to squeeze in, it's like you have a room in it. So that was overall my idea. I finished so what kind of texture I create over here. So I use my Barber's Bubble. I just call it that way because when I design a Lights and Twigs shawl, so on the screen maybe over here, I'm a fan, which means I'm a fan of bubbles, but I do not like when you do a bubble that you have to turn your work. So imagine you have a garment on your lap, and each time when you make a bubble you have to turn it around, and sometimes few times to create a bulk for that bubble to kind of pop out. So I come up with something quite simple, and I thought it would be definitely out there, that you don't have to turn your work. You're facing your work all the time when you're making a bubble, and I think they're so cute, so check it out. Then I added a braid, and then I did some slip stitch, and I just continue that. There was loads of bubbles, so it took me a while. Obviously it will take you a while and take a bit of yarn. I haven't thought through it, and I did loads over here. So I presume that's why I did not have for the length I wanted for the sleeves, but I presume this will be like, I'm guessing maybe 3/4, that's what you call it, sleeves. So I think it's pretty cool. I don't have a person yet to gift it to, but I think it would so cute. So something like that I would want for myself, and oh, I love it so much. I love it so much. I love the sleeves, and I love the thing over here. I will probably maintain the slip stitch through, because what I did, and it kind of plays good with the knitting when you're knitting it. So now I'm not sure, but because I wanted to have bubbles, they're not exactly underneath each other, so you know, there's a space, there's a bubble underneath. It ended up that in the center, when I had that just slip stitch in the braid section. Right, so this looks cute. However, for an adult, I would not exactly replicate this. I would make it bigger slightly, so we have more rounds, so we don't have so many bubbles in one spot, because that will be a lot of knitting, I think. So I would spread it around a little bit more, have the same ratio, so it kind of feels right when you're knitting it. I know not everyone is a fan of a braid, so braid is this. I know when people who were knitting my Lice and Twigs sweater, they said, oh, it's so interesting, but at some stage you have to really pay attention to make a good tension. Just saying, if you knitted a braid, you will know, although in my pattern I always specified that that first stitch, that when you do a braid, it has to be tight. And it's quite hard to do, because then you have to take that stitch and knit through the second one, and it stretches a little bit. But that's the stitch when emphasize the stitches afterwards. So it creates another row above that braid. So the yarn I use is Aldine Walls. It's by KnitCrate, and this is a DK one, so 236 yards, 250 meters. It is 50, 30 and 20, so we have 50 alpaca, 30 merino, 20 nylon blend. That's a really nice blend. I love when it's alpaca mixed in it. Alpaca also gives you the... apparently, alpaca also have a tendency to stretch a little bit, so I presume in regards knitting garments for children, for their knitwear, it is quite a good element to have in the sweater. Let me know, what do you think? Because if it stretches, it's bigger for them, so they can use it for longer while they grow. Yeah, let me know. So I used 2 skeins and I have a little left over, and that's how much I have left. Yeah, so I think that's all. I hope I explained everything. Maybe over here also how this yarn knits up. I love this kind of structure, color structure. I did not blend the skeins together, so basically, I forgot the word for it, but basically you use half of the skeins over here, you mix it with another one, and you do row each, and then you finish with another one. So there is a kind of a nice blend between two in case they're dyed different way, and yeah. So as you can see, I didn't, and it looks quite good, I would say. Now the last thing for me to do is to find someone to gift this sweater to. And I kept everything in this beautiful bag. Looks how cute it is. Now if you're interested to knit any of my patterns, please check the links down below, and that way you can support me. I hope you enjoyed this one. See you next one. Bye. See you next one. Bye.